Good morning. There it is. Good to see all of you here today. My name is Michael, and I'm one of the pastors here. And I just want to reveal a little bit something about myself, something you don't know about me. And I know it's probably something you wouldn't guess if you look at me. But back in my early to mid 30s, I was part of a CrossFit cult. Excuse me. CrossFit community. We're not supposed to say cult. No. So if you know what CrossFit is, some of you know what CrossFit is, you know that you get blamed for that, don't you, right? They call it a cult or something like that. And for those that don't know what CrossFit is about, it is really just a community that gets together and they work out together. They have a daily workout that they do. It's called a WOD, W-O-D, workout of the day. And they get together and they do these workouts. And it's actually quite amazing, all of the things that they do. Like there's some power lifting and Olympic lifts, and you got deadlifts and clean and jerks, things I never thought that I would ever be able to do. We do handstand walks, and we got pull-ups, and we do burpees, and all kinds of stuff that I did. And I wanted to be a part of this because I knew I was going to be an older dad, and I wanted to keep up with my family, with my kids. And so I got started with this. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, there's something weird, maybe sick about suffering alongside other people with this common thing that we all hate, but yet we're encouraging one another to keep going. And one of the things that I loved about it, one of the types of workouts was really unique, I never found it anywhere else, was this thing called a tire flip. Right? A tire, some of you know what this is. You got this big like John Deere tractor tire, and then you go down, you pick it up, and you got to flip it over, right? And I love those. I love doing those. Those are so fun. In fact, I found a video of the first one I ever attempted. You want to see it? Would you like to see it? Okay, take a look. Okay, that really wasn't me, by the way, if you were wondering. And that is not a tire flip. I don't know what that was. That was the most bizarre thing. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this. Is that I love being a part of it, and I love suffering alongside other people and encourage them. It just created this little community where we could encourage each other on. And we know that we need stuff like that, don't we? We not only need this community, but we need a routine in our life to develop us in a healthy way. And for me, that was the beginning for me. That was the beginning for me to really get into this workout routine and consistently do that. Now, I've moved on from that. Now I'm at Menominee Health and Fitness, and they got a personal trainer for me, programs it, and I can go and do it. But that was the beginning because I knew I needed to develop this healthy habit of being fit. And that's not the only habit that we need in our life, though. It's not just about being physically fit. There's other habits. In fact, in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 8, Paul talks about this with the person he's mentoring, Timothy. Here's what he says. He says that physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. Now, we're going to leave that there for a second because I want to break this down. Because I think sometimes we read stuff like this and we go like, oh, physical training has some value, so I don't need to do it anymore. I just need to focus on godliness type of thing. And that's not what it's saying at all. We need that physical training. In fact, we know the effects of it when we are in a good routine, whatever that routine is like, whether you're doing Menominee Health and Fitness or CrossFit, or you're walking your dog, or you're training for a marathon, or you're getting your steps in, those are all good things. We see the benefit from it, don't we? There's benefits to it. And there is something that we don't focus on, and it's this idea about godliness. And what does that mean? What does godliness mean? Well, we learn from the first pages of the Bible that God created you and me, human beings, in his own image to be like him, to be like God. That is godliness. Doing things and saying things and having this life like God has. And we get this perfect example of what that looks like in Jesus. Jesus is walking around and talking and teaching and performing miracles and all these things, showing us what it's like to be like God, the life that God intended us for to have from the very beginning. And we need that. And that's why we want to start this message series called Healthy Habits. We're going to focus in on these healthy habits to grow to be more and more like Jesus. And we need this. At least I need this in my life as the new school year has started up and I'm already overwhelmed with my calendar and forgetting to be at places and pick up kids when I'm supposed to and all of those things, right? You look at your calendar and it's so full. Or you look at your bank accounts and it's so empty. Or you look around at relationships and they're very shallow and distant. Or maybe you look at your own life and you're like, man, I just need some rest. I need to get sleep. And yet no matter how much you try to rest, you just are never rejuvenated. Because life just sucks the life right out of you. But we are going to experience in this message series routines that we can not just add into our busy calendar, but to infuse with what we're already doing to develop these godly characteristics, to being like Jesus. And we can see our calendar and our finances in a completely different way. We can start engaging with a practice that's going to not just give us rest, but rejuvenate and restore us, that rest that we really need. And today we're going to lead off with this thing about our relationships. How do we develop relationships so that they're not shallow and distant, but they're close and they're encouraging and we look forward to being a part of them? That started for me back in that CrossFit time, suffering alongside each other and encouraging one another. You know, we can do that as these people that are following Jesus. This is what Jesus is building, a group of people that don't just suffer alongside each other, but encourage one another. And they're with them, and that's what we need to develop these deeper relationships. It's actually a Bible term called fellowship. We develop this practice of fellowship. And if you're wondering what that means, I always love to have a definition for it, but it's just being bonded together by a common purpose and devotion. That's just the generic term, but when we apply it to the Bible, we apply it to engaging in this life that Jesus has for us, of being godly. We know that we are united, we're bonded together by this relationship we have with Jesus. That Jesus is our devotion. He has given his life for us, and so we are devoted to giving our life to him. And we love that to a certain extent, but how do we engage in that more fully to experience the depth of what fellowship is all about? Because when we do experience that, not only we have the same devotion, but we have this common purpose. We now start being able to care for one another the way Jesus does. We get to be Jesus to each other, and people from the outside looking in can look at it and go like, man, I can see Jesus right here among these people. That's what we get to be about with this fellowship. And we need this. And when we do it well, that's exactly what happens. We get more and more people added to this, a number, more and more people come in and experience what it's like to be like Jesus to each other. God's kingdom is expanding on this. In fact, the early church experienced this. There's a summary statement in this book called Acts, after Jesus has died and he rose again and he's showed himself to many, many different people, and they're celebrating that, and he ascends back into heaven, and the people are now starting sharing this story with one another. They start gathering together, and we get a nice little summary statement of what that church was like. I want you to see this, because this is the type of church that we can become. It's in Acts chapter 2, and it starts in verse 42. And if you listen closely, you'll hear some of those practices that they're putting in place, some of those healthy habits that help them to grow this bond with their common purpose and devotion. Here's what it says, verse 42. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. They were being rescued. They were being restored from this life that is just sucking the life out of them. That's what we get to be a part. We get to be a part of that whole thing. That's what fellowship looks like. And we have this great connecting bond to one another. Now, I don't know if you picked up on those healthy habits in there. Now, I've got to spend a little bit more time on this than you did. So if you didn't pick up on it, that's okay. But I found three. I found three healthy habits that they were engaging with on a regular basis that helped to build that bond that they had in Jesus and with one another. And the first one, it should be no surprise, but they worship together. That's the first one. They're worshiping together. They're praising God for what God has done in their midst. They're learning and teaching one another about Jesus and this life that he has for them and what it means now that he is risen from the dead and has ascended into heaven. They're worshiping with one another. They're worshiping together. The second one that I found in here is that they're serving together. It's a regular practice for them that they're serving together. They would see people that had a need. And those that had property, they released that. They let go of it. They sold it so that they could provide for other people, knowing that if they were ever in need, someone would do that for them. They trusted that, and they're serving one another as well as in their teaching with each other, right? Some served in that way. And the third way, if you pay attention really closely, is that you see they're doing life together. They're doing life together, not only in the temple courts, a common meeting place for many of them in their community, but did you see that they also met in their homes? That's like really personal. A way to invite someone into your home and to share your life with them. That's what they were doing. All of these healthy practices, these healthy habits that they were doing on a regular basis helped them to muster up and be bonded by this fellowship, that they had this clear bond with one another. And I don't know about you, but that's what I need in my life. I need to be bonded together with other people that have the same devotion that I do, that are there with a common purpose that I'm there with, that we can share things with each other and encourage each other through a life that will have suffering and will have hardships, and we need each other. That's what we get to develop. It's just like for me back in my CrossFit days, when I got to suffer alongside other people. I was actually on a team of people that competed at a local competition. And it was great because each person had a little bit different gifting. Some people could lift really heavy, and other people were really great with the running or the rowing or some of the calisthenics things. And some were really good with the more gymnastics types of movements. And we all balanced each other out. And no matter if we were good at that or not, we encouraged each other all the way through that whole long, horrible, suffering day. And we grew closer together because of it. We still have those close relationships because of the bond that was created through that. And that's what the church is. The church is a perfect opportunity, the perfect place to create that bond with one another. We already have this common devotion. We all have this common purpose. And now we can have these regular practices of worshiping together and serving together and doing life together on a regular basis that draws us closer. And no longer are relationships shallow and distant, but they grow deep and rich, and they grow wide for other people to be a part of. That's what we get to be a part of. And I'm inviting you to this whole message series as we get started so that you can engage with this. And we're going to do this together. Right? Just like that CrossFit team, we were in it together, we're going to do it together. I'm going to participate in this as much as you are participating in this. And we want to hear back from you as we go through this message series. How's it going? How are the practices that we're giving all of us to do? How are you experiencing that? We want to hear your stories. We can encourage you or help you along the way, and I know that you will help me along the way as well. So I'm excited about this Healthy Habits message series and to really show what the church here at Cedarbrook has for us to engage in and a whole nother level. I'm going to invite Pastor Kyle up, and he's going to tell us a little bit about all of the things that help us build this fellowship together. Pastor Kyle?
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks for kicking off our series. Is this on? Okay, I didn't think so. We're going to get it on, though. I'm going to talk really loud until we get it on. Handheld 1. There we go. Well, Cedarbrook, thanks, Michael. That was a great introduction to our series, and we are super excited for the fall. And you know, Cedarbrook exists for some very specific purposes. Cedarbrook exists to be a place that helps people do just what Michael was talking about, build healthy habits and build relationships with Jesus and with each other to encourage us to continue to be a part of doing those healthy habits day in and day out. We say that we exist as a church to be a place for people who have given up on church but not on God. We want to be a place for people who are far from God to come near to Him. Our mission statement actually says that we are a church that exists to help connect people to a life-transforming relationship with Jesus. Those are the things that I am passionate about. Those are the things that as a church we have always been passionate and excited about. What we dream about is seeing you, seeing all of us, seeing our church family connect to Jesus in a way that transforms who they are so that when we go out into the community, others notice. Others notice that there's something different about us because of Christ who lives within us. And so as a church, we want to continue that passion, being a place for people who have given up on church but not on God to grow near to Him, helping you, helping me, helping all of us grow in a way that helps transform who we are so that in turn we can transform our entire community. On your way in, you couldn't help but notice there was some construction dust out there, wasn't there? There was some construction material, and we're building this new ministry center on the west end of our church because we are all about those things. We're all about building the kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven, and we want a space for each and every person who wants to meet Jesus to have room to do it. I mean, look around this room. Who knew that you could come and have so much fun worshiping with 300 or 400 people on a Sunday morning? It's amazing to see what God does in transforming us and transforming our community through places and ministries like Cedarbrook. But we're not just building this new building to get more space. We're not just building this new building to have a bigger church facility. We're building this building because we truly believe that Jesus can and will transform thousands of more people's lives right here at Cedarbrook, right here in Dunn County, right here in the Chippewa Valley, and we want you to be a part of it with us. We're building this kingdom center, this ministry center, because we truly believe that it will be filled with God's people, and we can't wait to see the lives that are transformed. Now, I want to invite up our church staff because they're a huge part of making this mission a reality. So, staff, come on up. I think most of you are in the room. Some of it, yeah, give it up for our church staff. You know, over the last year, our staff has undergone a little bit of a transition. And so you may or may not even know all of the people that work here on a day in, day out basis. And I wanted to give us an opportunity to meet them. And so I have a set of questions for them that they're going to answer. They're going to come up on the screen for you to see and for them to see. But I just want you guys to answer, what is your name? Of course, that would be helpful. What is your role here on staff? How long have you been on the staff here at Cedarbrook? And then, because I always like to add something in that's a little bit fun, tell us, what's your favorite hobby? All right, Pat, you're going to go first. And pay really close attention when he says his last name. And then at Flannel Fest, I'm going to ask you to help me pronounce it.
Hey guys, my name is Patrick Gendron. So I'm expecting everybody to get that. If you,
he really did say Pat Gendron in English, but he's French Canadian, so we deal with him. Okay, so.
Made such a big statement. No, you guys can call me Pat Gendron. That's fine. As I'm youth assistant. I work with Rachel. We work on just growing and working through kids. I mostly work with the 6 to 12 grade. I've been on staff. It's only been since summer. It's only been a little bit, but it's been really nice to be part of this church and just seeing what God has in store for all these kids. My favorite hobby it's got to be I would be caught up between either hunting, fishing, or exercising. One of those three. One of those. Not balloon animals.
My name's Michelle Niven. I am the connecting coordinator here and a ministry assistant in the office. I have been on staff. It'll be 8 years next month. And my favorite hobby is watching my boys play basketball, and so I have bleacher butt.
Thanks for that detail. My name is Michael. I am the teaching and discipleship pastor here at Cedarbrook. I'm just shy of 2 years. It'll be 2 years in February, so that's wonderful for me and our family. And a favorite hobby of mine, I was told not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, is studying the Bible and nerding out on it, but also camping and fishing. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jody Kadinger. I'm the office manager here at Cedarbrook, and I've been here for just over 7 years. My favorite hobby is good food with family and friends.
Hi, I'm Jackson. I've been the worship ministry director here for about 4 years, and I would have to say favorite hobby is playing golf.
Good morning, I'm Smokey. I'm the facilities director. I've been on staff for 1 month, and I would say favorite hobby is probably ice fishing, although not right now.
Thank you. My name is Deb Creaser-Kipp. I am the marketing and social media coordinator here at Cedarbrook Church. I have been on staff just a little over a year. I started the end of June in 2023. So my favorite hobby is camping or being near the water, in the water, any lake or river. That's where I love to be, not a mud puddle.
My name is Julie Stunkel, and I'm the outreach and events coordinator. I spent 8 years on lead team until Easter of this year when I came on staff. And much to the surprise of the staff, my favorite hobby is sailing. That would be garage sailing, rummage sailing, thrift sailing. That sums it up.
Awesome. We have a couple of other staff members that I'll introduce, but they happen to be in our children's ministry wing with 100 of your children back there. Isn't that incredible? 100 kids back there learning about Jesus today. Rachel Stewart, who many of you have met, she's preached for us a few times and has been a part of Cedarbrook for many years, is our brand new Next Gen director. She is helping to oversee the ministry of CB Kids Ignite Youth Ministry, and our Rooted College Ministry as well. So she oversees all of that. And I have no idea what her favorite hobby is, but first service, I guess that it was balloon animals because our next gen team learned how to make them this summer. But I was told it's not Pat's favorite. So. And then Haley Green is also back there. Haley is brand new on our staff. Actually, Monday was her first day on our staff as our children's ministry assistant, and I'm just getting to meet her more, so I don't even have a guess at what her favorite hobby is. What did she say first service? She said one. Balloon animals? Yeah, that's what it was for sure. You guys do love your balloon animals. And for those of you who haven't met me, my name is Kyle. I'm the lead pastor here at Cedarbrook. I've been on staff since March of 2010. I have played many roles on staff in those 14 years. They never include singing or working with the kids in CB Kids. The rest of the things, yeah, exactly. Although, don't ask Jackson, but there are some very poor recordings of me when I forget to turn my microphone off. So that happens every now and then. And my favorite hobby right now is water skiing. I love water skiing this time of year. Can you guys give it up for our amazing staff? We truly do. Yeah, go ahead. As a church, we have always been blessed with an incredible staff, people who are truly in this for the mission of connecting people to a life-transforming relationship with Jesus, and this group of staff members is absolutely no different. I couldn't be more excited to go into this fall serving alongside this team of people, just waiting and expecting for where we will see God at work. Before I hand it over to the band is going to come back out to sing one more worship song. Before I hand it over to the band, I want to give you a couple of exciting updates about our ministry center that is expanding on the west end of the building. Are you ready for this? This is super exciting news. Earlier this summer, we crossed a major milestone in our building project. We crossed over $1 million in fundraising efforts so far. That's seriously, like, God is on the move. God is present and with us, and I want to thank you for your generosity. But we're not done there. Of course, we still need to raise a little bit more money, so I'll be talking about that throughout the fall. If you happen to win the Mega Millions, if that was you, like, come talk to me. If you want to be incredibly generous or limitedly generous, we want you as a part of this, because as a church family, we want to continue to share the gospel. That's what we're doing this for. This ministry center is about building the kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. A few other really cool pieces that have happened in that building expansion in the ministry center. We got city sewer and water earlier this month. That was a major milestone for us. That part of the project was actually 3 years in the works. We began petitioning the city for annexation, and we began all of those plumbing plans way long ago, back in 2021 and 2022. So we are thrilled to be set up that way. And during Flannel Fest, you'll actually have an opportunity with Jody, who is up here, our office manager, to take a tour of the footprint that is out there. About 80% of the floor of the concrete was poured this last week, and you can walk on it, see where the new event center and gymnasium will be, the new bathrooms and classrooms, the foundation wall of our new kitchen and lobby and offices and conference room went in on Friday afternoon, so you can see those spaces as well. So if you're interested in taking a look down there, find Jody. She'll be near the dumpster. That's the entry point to the building tour. So if you're interested, please head on down there, say a prayer for that building as well, and get a look at it. And the final thing to tell you about is one other way to contribute to that is to sign up to help us build. Yes, like hands-on, be a part of building that. It's going to be amazing. Actually, just yesterday, Lloyd's down front here. Smokey was just in here, and they were in those trenches that you're going to see with my kids, his kids, other volunteers, actually putting that purple foam insulation on the foundation of the building. We set a goal, an aggressive goal, of we want to save over $250,000 in labor by doing some of the building ourselves. And we know that we can accomplish that. And so we are excited to have you. So if you're interested in helping us build and have not yet filled out a card, please do that. Fill out a connection card right in front of you, or email me, or stand up at the end of the service and say, I'm in, and then give me your phone number. Let us know some way of getting a hold of you. And all skill levels are needed. Whether you are a skilled laborer or contractor, electrician, plumber, or have no skills whatsoever like me, but might be able to be told what these tool names are and then go get them for the skilled labor and everything in between, from making meals for the volunteers to coming alongside and assisting them. Everybody will have a place and a project that is right for you and your skill level and is safe for you and your skill level. So we would love to have all of you sign up to say, yeah, I want to be a part of building that ministry center. Because we've called this the Build, Fill, Send ministry campaign. What do we mean? We mean that, yes, we want to build a bigger building. Why? Because we want to build disciples. And then we want to fill that building with God's people, you and everybody we know. And then we want to fill those people with the Holy Spirit, and we want to send them out into the kingdom to keep making disciples, who make disciples, who see God's name be made great, who share the love of Christ to everybody they know. And that's why we need this ministry center, so that we can continue to do that. Well, with that, I want to invite you to stand up and join the band for one more song as we close things out in worship.